You're watching Ride Like a Local with Belt Drive Betty. Ride Like a Local is brought to you in part by Community Futures, Grand Prairie and Region. Here in northern Alberta, the Edmonton Motorcycle Show is the kickoff to the biking season. We've all been hibernating. We all have parked motorcycle syndrome. And this show is our way of reconnecting with our passion, with our community. I'm joined right now by Ethan Barkley, and he's a member of the CMDRA and one of the fastest men on two wheels in Canada. Ethan, tell me a little bit about your 2013 series and how that went for you.
2013 was pretty good overall. Started off a little weak. We had some technical difficulties with our new program. Obviously, we were a little behind the eight ball. Winter seems like forever, but all of a sudden it was race time, so we were a little bit behind. Other than that, by midpoint in the season, we did really well and finished off the season with some record runs, so can't complain.
Second place finish this year.
Yeah, I'm not used to that. Usually I'm in the number one spot, so I had to change some stickers on my bike. But second, I can't complain too much. Like I said, we ran really well, set a record, proved that the new program would work. And I'm really looking forward to this year because we're going to pick up where we left off.
You did a little extra work on the bike this year. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a little extra work with me. I think it's almost a whole new bike, actually. Other than the paint and the body work, which that's what everyone sees, it kind of looks like the same old bike. But actually underneath the skin, completely ground up, start over. It was in a million pieces, so I'm happy with it. It's got a little bit more work to do. Obviously, we do the bike shows here this weekend. As soon as we're done this, we're under the knife and get back at it here.
Well, how much are you going to allow your competition to hear about what you've done?
Well, I've been pretty open with it. The beauty of what I do is I race a GSXR program, which is super unique. Everybody else races the Suzuki Hayabusa for the most part. So when I develop something for my bike, there's only a handful of people that would even be able to bring that over to what they're doing on the Hayabusa or maybe a ZX14 or something. So for me, I'm lucky that way. It's been a kind of a pain in the butt because I don't have anyone to lean on for advice or where to go. So I've really had to tread my own way, so to speak.
Yeah, pioneer the whole program.
Absolutely. So the good news is now that we've kind of figured stuff out, which we're not perfect yet, but I think we've got a really good potential. Obviously, we're one of the fastest guys in North America or the world on a GSXR 1000. My company, EB Speed, has done well because of that. Now we're making parts for people all over the world. Amsterdam, United Kingdom, Caribbean. I have parts all over the place now, so it's worked out really well.
So Ethan, tell me a little bit about this beautiful Gixxer of yours and what you've done to it to jazz it up a bit.
Well, like I said, under the skin, it is completely new. So our biggest changes were in the ECU system, which is your engine control unit or management. In the old days, we had a stock system combined with an additional system for fueling. So I can't even describe how many wires were on this bike. It was a little bit crazy, and there's boxes doing every unique thing. So for 2013, we eliminated a ton of stuff, and we have one ECU that pretty much runs the whole bike, all the shifting, all the controls, all the ignition. So we've cleaned up a lot of stuff and upgraded that box. So that's made by Motec out of Australia, and they make some really, really high-end components. We were able to adapt that to the GSXR. Another thing that was always a little bit of a hindrance was our turbo system. In the old days, in 2006, when I first put this bike together, we bought stuff. I was pretty young at this, and I didn't know everything I do now. So I was buying parts from other people, adapting them to make them work for what we were trying to do, modifying them. And over the years, this bike had gone through several upgrades, but it was still using really the heart of the system was still that existing turbo kit from 2006, which did its job. The bike ran pretty quick. But for 2013, over the winter there, we came up with our own system, my own system, that I had always thought about every year when I was like at the end of the season, you know, writing all my notes down of what I wanted, my wish list, if you will. So for that winter last year, that's what we did. I built it from the ground up, clean sheet of paper, if you will, and no stone unturned. And we made a completely new system that nobody else has really done for this style bike especially. And it's a bigger turbo, more efficient turbo, boost is quicker, boost is cooler, just anything and everything you could want. I built it for this bike.
And you built your own.
Yes.
There's no...
We did all the CAD drawings and SolidWorks, and all the manufacturing was done actually in Calgary, which is pretty awesome. Not that there's some amazing fabricators all over the world, but I wanted to keep it in Calgary, keep it local, and give some business to the guys that have helped me out over the years. So we were able to fabricate that down in Calgary. Guys that are doing oil field work, but they're really amazing fabricators, great designers, and came up with an awesome program.
So 7 seconds. That's the goal this year?
Yeah, I think it's an achievable goal actually. You know, the 7:30s, we've ran a few of them now, and I'm pretty confident that with a little more boost and what we learned in the clutch when we were down in Florida, I think we'll be able to knock off another couple tenths pretty quickly. It's going to really depend on the racing surface. That's probably our biggest hindrance up in Canada. Canada is a really great place to race, and the fans are great, and the people that love the sport are great. Unfortunately, the track surfaces just aren't there for this style bike. We don't have the big 10-inch slick, the wheelie bars, all that good stuff. We have a little tiny tire with probably more horsepower per weight than anything else on the track, including a Nitro Harley. So for us, we really rely on a really sticky track. So when we go to the U.S., in those 4 days I was down there, I think we learned more in 4 days than we did in a whole season up in Canada, because we're fighting the track too much. We're always trying to detune and just make it down the run, and you got to win against the guy next to you. Whereas in the U.S., it was like, whatever you want, you can use it. So hopefully that'll come to play this year at great tracks like Edmonton and Medicine Hat.
What do you think 2014 is going to hold for you in the CMDRA?
Well, I think the CMDRA, obviously, we're trying to grow the sport, which is very tough these days. The economy's not all it was a few years ago, so we're still rebounding from that. We're trying to get some new membership, trying to entice new racers. For myself, just trying to keep on carrying on from where we left off at the end of the season. We're going to race a little bit more in the U.S. The season in Canada is going to be a little bit smaller this year. I think we're at 4 races confirmed right now. So in the in-between time, I think I'm going to head to the U.S. a little bit.
The U.S. competition is pretty fierce. How do you think you're going to do down there?
Well, I was just in Florida for the Manufacturer Cup World Finals, which has racers from all over the world come to that event. You're talking Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, Caribbean, everywhere. So my class, Pro Street in Canada, we're lucky to get 5 bikes because they are very unique, very expensive to make. Down there, we were talking 30 of the world's best. We qualified 16th, lost in the first round, but with a 7:30, I'm pretty happy with that.
So if you decide to go and do a few more races in the U.S., what are you going to have to do with your game to bring it up to that competition level?
I need another 0.3 of a second and about 10 more miles an hour, which is a huge amount. But
0.3 of a second, you don't have enough weight to ditch to get there, so how are you going to get there?
We're going to get there through very hard work and lots of reading and studying. But I think the package is there. We ran our record best, the 7:36 at 194 in Florida in November. We didn't have it turned up. We're still learning the new program, so I'm really confident we can run a 7:0 at 200 and compete for the win, I hope. But I think 0.3 of a second at 200 miles an hour is like a couple hundred feet, at least 250 feet. But I'm pretty confident we can get there.
How much do you think that your crew is going to play in helping you get there?
Yeah, I have lots of friends that help me out, and there's always, I'm pretty fussy. I'm kind of a lone wolf. I kind of like to do my own thing and think a lot because I built the whole bike and everything like that. But I do appreciate my friends like Chris Clausen, Skylar, and all those guys, Tom, that came down to Florida to help me out, because it's a big deal. Like, it was 4 days of racing, constant. You're running around with your head cut off. We were having little technical difficulties, but definitely your friends and family that can join you at the race is a big help.
Let's talk sponsors. Anybody new this year?
I'm working on a couple new ones. Nothing to announce yet, but as far as I know, everybody's confirmed that was on for last year, including Parts Canada and a couple of my major sponsors. Walt Healy Motorsports, who's been with me since 2004 when I signed with Suzuki, they are in a transition right now. So I'm hoping that the new ownership group, if there is, will carry on with the existing program.
Good luck with your 2014 racing program, and hopefully we'll get a chance to touch base and see how you did, see if you can improve on that second place finish last year.
I hope so. I don't like being in second place, so we'll do our best to finish on top again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ethan.
All right.
Growing communities one idea at a time is Community Futures Grand Prairie and Region, providing business planning, cash flows, market research, and business loans. Visit www.cfofgp.com to see how we can help you.
You bought your bike from the brand you trust the most. That's what Dalton Timmis is for your insurance options. As a specialized motorcycle insurance carrier, we can get you the best coverage, customized to fit you at the very best price. Call 1-888-385-8466 or visit daltontimmis.com now to get your free quote.
You're watching Ride Like a Local with Belt Drive Betty. I'm being joined right now by showmaster Laurie Paetz. And Laurie is with the National Sportsman Shows, has been under contract to PPS for a number of years, running the manufacturers' shows. And this is your last year doing that.
It is. An amazing run we've had. 11 years I've been the manager for Calgary and Edmonton motorcycle shows. In my tenure, I've also experienced the Toronto Motorcycle Show. A couple of years ago, I was able to produce that at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. And of course, the last 2 years, I've also been running the Vancouver Motorcycle Show. So very fortunate. My team and I have loved every second of it and every minute of it. And of course, always sad to close a chapter, but you know what? I understand that this is the direction of the industry, respect it, and we'll miss them more than anything. So
I know, I'm going to miss you ladies. You're a very big part of the shows, as far as not just the fact that you run them, but watching your smiling faces bopping around the aisles and coming to see everybody, and you've become part of a family. I can't imagine what that's going to feel like when you wake up after the Vancouver Motorcycle Show about 12 days from now and go, I'm not doing that again.
Oh, I can't even see. I'm trying not to even think that right here, right now. Obviously enjoying every day, every moment of every day. Calgary, it was a moment during move out where I felt that. This will be my last Calgary Motorcycle Show move out. Edmonton. You know, every moment I've just been taking it in, probably appreciating it even more than I ever have. So it's been wonderful. It's such a pleasure to produce these shows. They are truly, as I describe them, the auto show of the motorsports industry. Gorgeous shows due to the manufacturers. They have proven over and over again how professional the booths are, and having the local dealer support, the local clubs and association support, just every aspect of it. Our freestyle partners, and you know, these guys, over the years we've gotten to know them. There's been new riders coming into the fold, but they all become part of the family. Everybody does, whether it's a media partner like yourself. We really have come together, and it's been an amazing journey. One that I'm going to be sad to see go, but again.
So what's next for Laurie and her team? I mean, obviously you still have the sportsman shows to run, and you still have an enormous job to do, but there's going to be a little more free time now. You're going to have 3 weeks in January where you're not going to be pushed quite to the limits. So what's next for you guys?
You know, I guess it's like anything. Our sportsman shows, Calgary and Edmonton, very large shows. We can probably expand those and different components of those shows, where sometimes with a compressed show season, as we've had for many years, haven't had the opportunity to do so. So I'm sure we'll add in various components to it. I know that our company will be looking at other shows out there, whether it's a new opportunity in a market or whether there's an existing show that may want to be purchased. And obviously we've set the bar for the motorcycle world here in Western Canada, so we can definitely prove what we are capable of doing and taking a show to a certain level, and up for any challenge. You know, again, the old saying, when one door closes, another door opens.
What's new this year compared to last year?
Well, of course, this is a manufacturer show, so all the products are new, and so it's always nice to see some of the new technology that the manufacturers are working on, that they're introducing to the marketplace, and from the accessories world in all aspects. For the actual features riders. Of course, we have some new riders with us for our Evolution of Extreme show. It's always nice to have just a mix in there because each rider has their own unique style that they add to the show. Always fun to watch. Such a popular show here in Northern Alberta. It really is one of those, it's fun to watch at 12 o'clock when the doors open. There's a lineup and these people, everyone is so passionate, and it's fun to see the kids are running to the Yamaha Riding Academy to sign up because they know that that's the destination for them. There are people here grabbing show guides and planning out their day, and it really is, it's always fun to watch. You stand back and kind of take it all in, watch what is the priority for some people. Like some, they're running to the manufacturer's booth to just sit on bikes. It's almost like, it's been a long winter, we just need to sit on bikes. And it's just fun to see the grins. It's like, here we are, you know. Hearing engines run in the middle of January, same thing. It's like, we all know, die-hard riders, it's like just listening to an engine, it's like, oh, that's just sweet, sweet sounds of music.
It's absolute music for the soul. It soothes the heart of the savage beast.
Absolutely.
And when you suffer from PMS, and I do mean parked motorcycle syndrome, for those who aren't in the know, you know, it is. The January motorcycle shows are the thing. They're that bittersweet. They create that itch to get out there and go riding, yeah. But they also seem to soothe a person's emotions.
100%. And it's fun because it becomes a destination for people to regroup. Sometimes if you're part of a riding club and you haven't seen people since, you know, maybe late September, this almost becomes a destination. So everybody can regroup and get together. And it's really nice to see the friendships that either have come together here at the show or have been formed here on the show floor. It's really, it just is become a destination in the middle of winter.
Are you going to consider coming to see what the show looks like next year? When you're not part of the team, are you going to come just to see everybody and say hi and also to see what the new showmasters are going to do?
You know, I guess for me, always, I love these shows, and I know that they're beautiful shows, and no matter who is running them or how they run it, they will be gorgeous shows because, again, what the show floor will always look like. Will I come? Probably out of just, again, 11 years of relationships and rapport and friendships and family. It really has become a family for me, whether it's the people, whether it's the display guys setting up the displays, whether it's the truck drivers really crossing Canada in the middle of January and crossing into Vancouver in sometimes very disastrous road situations. You know, they're all family to me, whether it's a local dealership, a riding club, whoever it is, my freestyle riders, you know, I want to come and give hugs, and I'm always about hugs. And
so just because we're saying goodbye to you as showmaster doesn't mean that you're going to forget us.
Oh gosh, no. Gosh, no. Are you kidding?
Because, you know, I mean, that's part of that separation thing, right?
Yeah.
And it can be really hard. Some people, once they close the door, they don't want to go and revisit it again because emotionally it gets too heavy.
No, for me, it's always been, for me, the show has always been what's best for the show. It's always been what's best for the show and what's best for the people coming to the show. What do they want to see? I always try and take a step back. For 11 years, I've always watched it from various angles, and one of those angles is if I was a consumer, if I'm just a regular consumer, what do I want to go see? What's my interest? What would motivate me to get off my couch and drive down to a building in the middle of January? So for me, no, it's always what's been best for the show, to come down and visit it. They're beautiful shows, and the people that are part of it are really amazing all the way around in all aspects of the industry.
It's been an amazing 11 years,
yeah.
And I want to thank you on behalf of the Canadian motorcycle community here in Western Canada for being that person, that dedicated, loving, warm, open human being that just wants everybody to get the best, enjoy themselves,
yeah.
And come away with a great feeling. That's who you are. That's who we know you as. So thank you for 11 wonderful years.
It's been pretty easy, like I said. Put a little bit of heart into anything and we can make miracles. Thanks.
The Sports Camera Store in West Edmonton Mall is your one-stop shop for drift and GoPro action cameras. We carry Canada's largest selection of action cam accessories, along with video sunglasses, hidden and surveillance cameras, and more. Visit www.sportscamerastore.com or stop into our West Edmonton Mall location, lower level by the bay.
Community Futures Grand Prairie and Region. Business development assistance, business planning, cash flows, market research, business loans up to $150,000.
Community Futures, growing communities one idea at a time.
I'm with Billy Kohut, who is an absolute motocross freestyle nut. And Billy, can you tell me a little bit about how you got into freestyle? That's not something everybody just picks up.
No, that's right, it's not. I grew up on a farm in a small town. Just had a lot of time on my hands with my motorcycles and watching all the motocross films as a kid. It was something I always wanted to do and pursue. So I kind of self-taught myself most of the stuff, and then got into the industry and met some really good people that kind of took me under their wing and brought me in and showed me the industry, and it just kept evolutionizing from there.
Now, you started out like so many farm kids, riding dirt bikes and competing in motocross. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, when I was 12 years old, I raced my first race on an 80, and I did 2 years of that. And actually, I stopped doing motocross after my racing and got onto steer riding and chased the rodeo circuit for a while.
I could imagine that the skill that you learn riding steers would actually help you an awful lot with freestyle, because that animal underneath you is so unpredictable.
That's true. It definitely helped for balance and that aspect of it, for sure.
But still, throwing that bike around up in the air, you know, you're covering a 75-foot gap. You're, what, 25, 30, 40 feet in the air?
Yeah, about 30, 35 feet high. But yeah, that's right. It does take some core strength and stuff to throw your body around up there. But it is actually, when you're up there at that apex of the jump, you're virtually weightless.
Really? I wouldn't have thought of it that way. I would have thought that you would have actually felt almost sluggish being up that high.
Yeah, no, it's kind of when your bike starts dropping, that's the point where there's about zero gravity there, and you're just floating.
That must be a very trick feeling. Like, I can only imagine that sense of weightlessness, what it must feel like.
It's definitely one of the reasons why I'm still doing it.
I was just going to ask that question. Is it that much of an adrenaline rush? It looks like a blast. You listen to the crowd, you listen to the audience, and you ask questions of them, and they're all, oh, that's crazy, I couldn't do that, freaked out. But there's got to be an impetus, a reason why freestyle is your passion. So what is that for you?
It's definitely the feelings you get jumping a motorcycle. It's unexplainable to me. It's a feeling of adrenaline and just a multiple of feelings all combined in one split second, and it's something it's priceless.
Yeah. How many bones have you broken learning your craft?
I think it's about 10.
There isn't a guy that does freestyle that I've talked to that hasn't at least broken,
It's definitely part of our industry. You're never gonna go perfect without a glitch, So there's always that one day it's not a matter of when, but it is just a matter of time. It's a matter
of not if, but when.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. One last question for you. What advice would you give some young 12, 13, 14-year-old up-and-comer? What one piece of advice would you pass on to them?
I'd have to tell them just to believe in your dreams and don't let anybody tell you anything different. And just do whatever you think you need to do to make it happen.
I'm I'm being joined right now by Cody Elkins, who does some really crazy stuff with quads, flipping them, doing all kinds of stuff. And Cody, tell me, how did you get involved with flipping quads?
Well, I mean, the only thing I really got to compare it to is motocross. I mean, I grew up racing motocross and riding freestyle motocross on motorcycles, and then only about 5 years ago I actually switched over to doing quads and bikes. And it's definitely a completely different feeling than a motorcycle. With a motorcycle, you can come at the ramp any direction, lean any direction, throw the bike around all you want. Well, on the quad, it's not quite like that. You've got to start off at least going pretty straight at the ramp. And then, so everything's kind of straight line until you get in the air. Once you get in the air, you can throw it around and do the things you need to do. But as far as the initial coming up to it, everything's got to be straight. And then as far as flipping goes, it's a lot harder of a pull, you know, because you got a lot more weight, you got a lot more mass and things catching the wind, that kind of stuff. So when you're coming up at the ramp on a dirt bike, I feel like I don't even pull to do flips anymore. I just kind of lean back, look up, it does a flip. Where on the quad, I'm like in the corner, kind of psyching myself out. I'm like, all right, I got to pull this thing. And so go up the ramp and just yank as hard as you can. So it's definitely different, but for someone who hasn't ridden, it's basically like one of the biggest commitments you can ever make, you know, as far as jumping off a diving board or whatever, like anything that kind of somewhat scares you where you got to like force yourself to do it. It's definitely a huge commitment to do. I just needed to do it. And actually it was perfect first time around. Went a little long just because I wanted to make sure it had time to rotate, so I jumped all the way down to the bottom of the landing and landed right on the wheels. But I instantly learned from that first one that setup of the quad was real important. I had the quad setting way too low, and the front end was way too soft, and I was literally jerking my arms off trying to get it around. You know, then we went and made a couple of adjustments and made it a little easier to come around, and I've been very lucky as far as those go on the quad.
Why a quad? I mean, you were already flipping bikes.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of the crowds that you perform for absolutely love watching the Freestylers. So what was it about the quad? What drove you? I mean, I've seen guys do skidoos and other crazy things, but why a quad?
I like to be different, for one. It really boiled down to the fact that I was putting together a show, an entire show in Mexico, where I was hiring the ramps, the riders, BMX team, announcers, lights, pyro, everything. And the promoter I was working with wanted a quad backflip. And I called up all the guys and or the guys I needed to talk to book the guy. And when I found out there was only 4 guys doing it, and then found out that you know, there's a little bit more money in it, and the drive for shows was there, I was like, I think I'll do it. So I actually booked myself for this show to do a flip, and I didn't even own a quad. And then bought a quad, and a month later was at the show flipping it.
So what's next for you?
Well, actually, I go from here back to the States, and I'm doing Nuclear Cowboys next weekend, which is a very cool, fun tour. And then I believe right after that, I get to go hook up with some of the Monster Jam guys and see some of my old friends on that tour, which is going to be fun. And then I'm working on possibly setting a new world record this year. I set one this last year, longest moving quad jump. And it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed the exposure that I got out of that, and it's nice having a record hanging on your wall. But all it did was really motivate me to try more, so see what else I could do. And so this year we're going to push the limits a little bit more and try and progress my tricks and see what it takes us.